Okay, so we've discussed caffeinated coffee. There have been some other achievements since then. You want to talk to us about that a bit?
Sure. Yeah, there was caffeinated coffee. Then I followed that up with an album called The Voice in the Grain, which was similar to caffeinated coffee. It was a mix of my own material and arrangements that I'd done of other people's music. And we followed that up with the Beatles. It was called 4 on 6, the Beatles for solo guitar. And that was kind of like going back to my original musical roots, that December 9th, 1953. That was my original roots. My original musical roots was February 7th, 1961.
But of course, revisiting it with the advantage of experience and playing ability, advanced playing ability and.
And of course it was a reinterpretation of it, because it was, I was sort of compressing a band down onto the onto 6 strings, and also not doing it exactly the way they did it. Some tunes I would try and sort of reproduce the original, but other ones, I would rearrange and try and give it a different flavor, and. So that was kind of really satisfying to sort of get that out of my system, because these tunes were just sort of piling up, all these arrangements, and then most recently I've done a CD, Dr. Bob's Acoustic Tonic, which is sort of a return to my second musical route, which was that discovery of jug band music and blues and everything, and how I really got involved in folk music, and so that was a bit of a departure because it's more of a vocal based album. It's still just myself and guitar. But the tunes were all vocal rather than being strictly instrumental, which is what the other CDs had been. So those were the recordings, and in the intervening time, another thing that's made this so much fun is I've had success with a few other things too, and the big one being in 2003, going down to Winfield, Kansas, and competing in the. At that time, it was the National Fingerstyle Guitar Championship, and I competed in 2002, and I placed 3rd that year, and went back the following year and won it. So that was really great. That's these are all little things that start to pile up, and
not so little.
You get a reference shot from that poster.
Yeah, and that's actually the trophy up there. Mm-hmm. It's like a honkin' big bowling trophy. It's we actually had to take it all apart to bring it back.
How many? I mean, there look like an awful lot of performers on that poster. How many would there be? Are they all represented on the poster, or?
Oh yeah. But now these aren't the people that would be competing.
Right.
This is so there's the music festival part of it, and there's all the competitions that are occurring.
Mm-hmm.
And performers at the festival can't compete. Can't be competitors. So, but yeah, it's a big. I don't know, what is there, 50 or so? 50 performers. And it's a great festival. It's really nice. It's a little different from the others. It's not like a folk festival. It's really more of a bluegrass old time music festival, but it also has this contemporary singer-songwriter component. And then the other thing that makes it a little different is they always usually have 3 or 4 fingerstyle guitarists, as featured performers. So I don't know what we had this year. We had Beppe Gambetta, Tommy Emmanuel, Stephen Bennett, Pete Hutlinger might have been in that year. But which is really unusual for festivals these days. You don't see a lot of solo fingerstyle guitarists.
That's pretty tall company you just rattled off there.
Oh yeah. They're.
He says nonchalantly.
But so that's been that was a real sort of high point.
Yeah.
So you've been back various times then since 2002.
In 2003 I won. We actually went back 2004 because one of the things they did was normally when you win you can't compete for another 5 years, right? You can't come back to compete. But they changed it from the National Fingerstyle Guitar Championship to the International Fingerstyle. They renamed it basically because already they were getting people from Australia, Japan, Britain, Canada, always, and across the United States. So they renamed it in 2004, and because they renamed it, they said, well, anybody who's won previously can come back and compete, because it's basically a new competition. And I think the hope was to get a lot of us coming back to, former winners, to compete. But there was only a few of us: Pete Huplinger, myself, Michael Chapdelaine was supposed to come, but he didn't make it. So anyways, it didn't quite work out. I think the way they were hoping for it, but and then the following year I actually played at the festival, and I was actually one of the judges in the competition, so I got to see it from both sides of the microphone. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting perspective.
So what's coming up now? What's on the radar?
What's on the radar? Well, we were talking a little bit before in terms of recording projects. We were talking before about. There's several of the Japanese fingerstyle guitarists that I really like, and I'm kind of toying with the idea of doing an album of their music, because a lot of that is stuff that people over here haven't heard, because their albums aren't available, and there's a couple of the composers that I really, really like. So I'm just trying to figure out if I can do that as a project, and then I'm in the middle of, probably got 6 new tunes of my own for another CD that I'd like to do, which I'm pretty sure that the next one will just be solo instrumental guitar again, because that's really that's really sort of my passion right now. It's just there's something about the way my brain is wired or something. I've just realized that this is really where I work,